Hey, social media family. Been of any subscribers as well as any visitors to that being of my own immediate personal social media channel and our chat room or comment section. How are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay, if not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right, if not best of all to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, family, friends, and hopefully me and mine. Likewise, as well, all the same. And please do excuse, pardon, forgive me for butchering the English language of American dialect, possibly for that being the umpteen consecutive time. Sorry about that, but then I never had claimed to have become or be an English major, neither nor an English professor. And now that I've gotten that out the way, you know, then let me continue. Moving right along, or as our kissing cousins across the great waters of the Atlantic would say, being of the Brits, as in British or English for the mother country of England or Great Britain, being in which had given birth to our own supposed so-called democratic republic or democracy, being in which is continuing to permit the likes of racist redneck dirty cops to shoot unarmed non-white males in the back like one cowboy would do another cowboy in the old western days. And mainly or mostly as the non-white males would be blacks and Hispanics, were more blacks than Hispanics. Anyway, though, yes, I wish to share with you all what I have become subjected to experiencing. No, definitely, certainly not anything of that nature that I had last mentioned. Rather, something that had proved to have become rather unfavorable in that been of his own right, as I had. Oh, excuse me, seemed like I have quite a bit of compulsive order. Compulsive disorder, what I meant to say now. Seemed like I'm becoming subject to experiencing that of a speech impediment as well as possibly memory lapse. God forbid. But anyway, I had become subject to experiencing a rather unfavorable case or situation upon the condition of ignorance and insanity coming from this one soup kitchen, being which parlays or moonlights as a food pantry from time to time. And was, certain male individual persons who are patrons of some or such, not any ever and all, but certain ones, they can be some real, excuse my pardon of French, dickheads or dickhead pricks. Or like this one shithead of a brain dead, brainless, effing idiot and a sicko of a Rudy Pooty, poop butt pissant, two bit punk, poop butt ass street punk that I had encountered a conflict of interest with, you know, really now. I do sound like Elmer Fudd or Slash Stallone, hopefully not as much like Ronald Reagan. One having a speech impediment, the other having a memory lapse. But anyway, getting back to the original topic of discussion or the given argument at hand to be debated with the pros and cons, the different views and opinions thereof. Uh, in other words, the subject matter. So I had attended this one soup kitchen, and this one young Rudy Pooty, poop butt, pissant, punk, unfortunately being of another brother of one of the non-white males. He had felt this rather desperate, stupid, and sick need to get in on me. And I'm just minding my own business, as I had explained in the basic intro as an introduction. So I have done the same for the content of the footnotes. I'm sorry, you all. I haven't eaten much of anything today. I'm going to cook me some kind of quick fix meal shortly afterward and eating snacks while I try to do this broadcast for my own YouTube social media channel. So I'm paying the visit to this one soup kitchen, likes the one that moonlights as a food pantry. And somebody had taken my seat. And seeing how I'm not one to wish to engage in a conflict of interest, I mean, I would try to avoid it at all cost, believe it or not. That's just me. I'm one of those kind of guys or fellas or dudes compared to other ones that, you know, act as if they would like very much or love to go on a suicide mission. You know, that come to mind, mission or something. You know, and risking life and limb by getting into it with another male to be compared on to a case or situation of a conflict of interest of an incident of road rage, you know, on the interstate highways and so forth. So much rather than instead of bringing it being a matter to this other brother that had taken my seat, you know, whereas usually the customary familiar policy or procedure or protocol would be to put something in your seat after you leave it so that another male or another person would know that that seat is taken, but I didn't. And, you know, regardless though, you know, whereas, you know, sometimes you want to bring it back to another person and say, hey, that's my seat. But like I said before, so I say again, and likewise, as I stated for the record, I'm that kind of guy or fella, one of some of such other compared to vice versa, who do not wish to engage in a conflict of interest up under any circumstances if it can be avoided at all costs. So I just left it alone, just look for another seat at another table. And before you know it, this young Rudy Pooty punk ass cocksucker with 2-bit street punk, you know, of the likes of Dime a Dozen, you know, Joe Palookas, Joe Schmucks, Joe Schmoes, or brain dead or brainless idiots and or sickos. So he's like saying to me in more words or less, sit your ass down. I'm like, what? I'm like, I didn't bring it back to him though. I'm thinking in my head, that's uncalled for. Really now? Are you freaking kidding me? Really now? What the F is your freaking problem, you know? Gets me to think about my last neighbor from down hell, dickhead, prick, you know. But then I have more than enough of their kind where I'm presently at, you know. Possibly that much more than where I was at before. You know, the likes of dickhead pricks and neighbors from down hell, other males of characters, you know. Yeah, more of males than females. So you know, I'm sitting at another table from there. As I taken the liberty to do so, after I found another seat to sit down in, you know, and I can sense that his eyes are still upon me, whereas I'm discussing the matter with some other males at this other table, and they're giving their views and opinions upon it, whereas they agreeing with me. That's just so senseless, you know. Some of these brothers, you know, they need to get them some business. They need to get them some home training. I'm hearing this from one brother to the next at this other table I'm at. And I'm sensing this brother's eyes still upon me, where he's staring me down and so forth before he decides to leave it alone and look elsewhere. And it was attempting to have a conversation with another brother at the table he was at, like as if I'm in the wrong, you know, where he don't qualify. You know, he just one of them pinheads, you know. And, you know, the likes that will wear the emotions on their sleeves more than other brothers. And being the likes who would give white people something to talk about and all the same more of the likes than other brothers who would make, you know, the can as in jail and the crazy house like a revolving door, you know. What am I saying? Wow, seriously though. So I kind of lost my appetite behind that. So I got up as I'm contemplating leaving the premises or properties of that one, you know, soup kitchen that moonlights as a food pantry for the likes of this kind, but not before I had informed staff persons as to what had transpired, as it happened to simply say, because it was uncalled for. It was rude, you know, of him, you know. So I couldn't believe I was, what? Who's him? Sit your ass down. Like I kind of sensed that the same male person of a brother of my own race and of the same sex had it in for me, because from time to time I would sense his eyes upon me like he's attempting to start something. And sure enough, this day he did, you know. Well, there was this other young brother with whom he hangs out with, but the other young brothers didn't say anything to me. But lately he's been like acting like he wants to attempt to invade my private little space area or make himself, you know, available to do just that. And he was sitting at the same table before I got into conflict of interest with this other brother, the one that barked at me, like as he was coming off like a mad dog, foaming at the mouth with rabies. And and whereas I'm looking for another seat from there, seeing how I had noticed that brother that was sitting at the table with me, was supposed to be some kind of homie of this other brother, the one that barked at me, barked off cuss words to me. And so it's like he kind of sensed that, I'm thinking a friend of his is no friend of mine. Because, he's a little like the usual suspects and public enemy number ones, more than some others. And with a lot of them brothers up in there, they like to make it with fast hands, as they go about with the pickpocketing action, person action. They want to see if they could catch you sleeping up in that camp. No. So they can pat your pants pocket, go for broke. Because I would say they got me, what was it, at least one or two times up in there. So, and not just of another brother, but of a sister for that matter. Yeah, for this one camp that serves the poor and needy and the homeless. I be hating that coming up missing something because somebody else is made with the fast hands. So anyway, though, I lost my seat. I was planning to sit elsewhere anyway, looking around, but couldn't find a seat that they give me on time. And then they called our table. This kind of soup kitchen where you have to get up and go to the counter to get your food. Like whereas a staff person, they don't bring your meal to you. For breakfast or lunch, they don't serve dinner because it's not that kind of party. It's not like a rescue mission men's shelter that serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So anyway, though, so I get up when they called my table with the other guys, the fellas I was seated at the same table with. We got up and went to the counter. And as I'm coming back from the counter to go back to where I was seated at the same table, somebody took my seat. And like I said, I'm the kind of guy, a dude that don't like conflicts of interest of a negative nature. I try to avoid it at all costs. So I'm looking for another table. And this other brother talking about, sit your ass down. I'm like, are you for real? I didn't bring it back to him like that. I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, I mean, the nerves of some people. I'm like, they ain't got a lick of sense. I'm saying it's like, at a certain time of the day or night, the brain cells turn off. And they get to acting all retarded and so forth. No offense is meant to be directed to much more familiar, mentally challenged. At least they will have more of an excuse for being the way they are. More of a legit excuse that is. So this son of a bitch, this bastard, this dickhead prick, this shithead, piece of shit. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be using this alternative expedients of profanity of cuss words. He gets to barking at me. I'm sorry about that. If I'm going to for the use of expedients of profanity or use cuss words, hopefully it's only of the ones being of which are mentioned in God's word. The good book, the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth, God to make reference to salvation and deliverance in Christ, our Lord and Savior, the Messiah, deliverer. The rabbis, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Prince of Peace. But anyway, though, so this dickhead prick, I mean, he's mouthing off like so, like, and likewise as if he's sensing that I don't want to have anything to do with that other brother, seeing how the other brother knows him. Far as I know, he could be fucking him. No. Oh, there I go again. I'm sorry. I gotta remember to refrain from employing uses alternative speech of strategy, or gotta refrain from using those other sort sort sorts of types of cuss words that are not mentioned in God's word. Good book. The BIBLE is the basic instruction for living earth regarding salvation and deliverance in Christ. Our Lord and Savior. To rephrase that for the last minute, he could possibly be having something going on with this other male, and closing locked doors out of the general public's eye, you know, whereas both of them could possibly be giving each other head, be like sticking this stuff in there. Hold that thought, you all. I have a lot of creeps in this building more than the creeps at the other building I was at prior to moving here. I mean the neighbors from damn hell here are more creepier than how the neighbors from damn hell at the other building where I was at was more crazy. Same. In order to avoid power grid failure, recommendations include turning off any lights, avoiding the use of yeah. Anyway, though, you all getting back to what I was like saying before I was so rudely interrupted. For my own immediate personal YouTube social media channel. So this guy, this of the same sex as I am, he could possibly be having some kind of secret sexual liaison of a homosexual faggoty nature with this other guy fellow dude. They could be sucking each other off, or could be going down on each other, or could be sticking and stuffing their Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog, ballpark Frank Eckridge Polar sausages into each other's buns, be like, giggity, giggity. Get it, or be getting it from each other, like, work it. You know how to do it. Grab these love handles. Doggy style is spread eagle style. So I'm like, man, what's your problem getting back to some such other on another note of interest, I didn't bring it back to him, but I'm thinking in my head, as I'm discussing that with some other brothers at another table compared to the table we was at, with still some other brothers, I mean, you got two different cliques, The brothers who have brains and the brothers who are brain dead or brainless, I look at it now. Who want a ladder on the phone? He didn't do anything. He didn't fall out. So I made sure of that by informing the staff person. Had the dickhead pick. The dickhead pick at table number 5. He's attempting to give me the business for no reason. Notice I said for no reason, not for little no reason, but for no reason. Because I don't think, well, as the Haas twins would say, I don't say shit to him. Well, whatever you have in mind to do, as long as you're not with me, do what the fuck you want. Do the fuck you want to do. As long as you're not with me. Because I'll knock you the fuck out and get the hell out. Or forgive me for the employ you to those alternative speech for profanity, or for using those other cuss words once again, I say. But, whatever you do, go for it. Just don't attempt to do it with me and keep it away from me, Yeah. So he's like, thank you there. Visitor to my chat room or comment section. Anyway, getting back to some of the stuff. So he's like mouthing out. I'm like, sir, cheers, though. And I from time to time carry on my person or within my possession a sharp object as a knife of some kind, just in case I encounter the likes of his kind, I mean, you must really be like off your rocker if you're attempting to start something with somebody else over something so trivial, something that doesn't even warrant a verified, confirmed, a valid argument for you to attempt to start something with another male with something of a nature so trivial, So I got out of there, and I was pissed that I had to skip that soup kitchen, miss lunch, and go to another one. All been because of this dickhead prick. And in this hot and humid ass weather temps. But I had to prove myself to be the much better man, by just leaving there, but not until I would inform staff person as to what went down, just in case some of them may not have got wind of it compared to other ones. I want to make sure at least some of them heard what had happened as I relayed the information to them to convey the line of thought. Sorry, y'all. I'm hungry as a boo boo with them. I'm gonna fix me some kind of quick fix meal after this. So that's what happened to me today, you all. You know what I'm saying? Mind my own business. And then this dickhead nigga, this dickhead nigga, this damn nigga dickhead prick SOB bastard felt the need to get in on me for no reason at all, not for little no reason at all. I didn't say or do shit to him. I'm gonna rephrase that. Sorry about that again. I didn't say or do squat to him for him to go off at the mouth like that on me. That would warrant all that. It wasn't legit. It wasn't verified, confirmed for him. The cock a funky, foul, stankin' ass, poop butt, pissant, homo faggy, nigga street punk attitude with me, Because I'm like, what the fuck? What the damn hell is that? Just straight up out the blue. A curveball he threw my way, Like, man, go ahead on with that, man. I'm like thinking, man, if I walk up out this camp and he attempt to follow me as and stalk me, what you want to do, man? Because I ain't having it, If I'm not my own business trying to be a real brother and one of these fake brothers, and you attempt to start something with me, but I didn't do anything or say anything to you that would warrant all that, because, I'm like looking at him like this here. You one of them brothers, man, you got little, if any, home training. Why I'm concerned, you got no home training, man. You probably one of them brothers that been taught the wrong way to urinate, where you sit on the toilet stool like a bee, like a woman, then stand up and just knock yourself out. Well, sit down, pull up and then, wow, maybe he is wearing a dress or skirt, cross the dress behind clothes and I go, but pull down and then sit on the toilet. And that's just how up in the head he is, screwed up, So I left. I'm pissed, but I left, by proving myself to be the much bigger man, because fools like that is a dime a dozen. I ain't trying to go to the can or the crazy house with you, because that's where you catch that corona or COVID. Former ex-president Donald Trump called the Chinese virus before he had toned it down and called it the China virus, but it's still racist. It'd be bad, just as bad if I would have called it the homo virus or the faggot pandemic, that is the homo coronavirus or the faggot COVID-19 pandemic. That would be wrong. Well, so I'm not calling it that. I'm just saying for the sake of it. Yeah. As it come to mind, like in times like these, he's attempting to start some of the buses and trains is running slow, like, and I ain't trying to get caught out there where somebody could meet me and have me be caught between a rock and a hard place and I ain't trying to go somewhere where you could be much more likely to catch corona or COVID-19. I'm saying corona, not the beer, but the epidemic or pandemic, and you can catch it in the nursing homes as well. Much more as well, let it be said, as you could likewise all the same that much more catch it in the can as in jail and crazy out. Cause I'm like, what the damn hell wrong with these brothers nowadays? Certain one want to attempt to start something with other brothers, or other males, or whatever race, walk of life, faction, or society, lifestyle preference. I'm like, I'm thinking along this line of thought, making quite a bit of a joke though. Well, hopefully that's not the case of situation in all reality. I'm not saying. I'm not. I'm thinking in my head, and I'm not bringing it back to him like that, because you know how it is. But I'm like thinking, I'm not your problem. It's not my fault. I'm not to blame or responsible for your mom being a crackhead or meth head. You know, I mean, you sound like you was buried by one of them kind of brides or dames or bitches and hoes. Don't take it out on me. Not my fault that your father, your stepdad may have abused you as a little boy for years, even as a preteen, not to mention as an adolescent, a teenager, the same sex, like a Catholic priest will scope, stalk, and vamp or prey upon much rather than to think of it with man's intention to try to pray with, the many different races of underage male minors, whatsoever walks of life or whatever factions of society lifestyle preferences. I mean, it threw me for a loop for this young. Well, he's not so young. He's kind of old, but he's young enough, And he's not as young as the other brother that he took up under his wing. The one that was sitting at the same table I was at before he got into it with me. Whereas I'm looking for another table anyway to sit at, because after I had acquired knowledge that he be hanging out with this same brother that barked at me like a mad dog with rabies, And to think at one time or another, the young blood, I was thinking about letting him, the one that was sitting at the table with me, I was thinking about letting him chill in the place with me, trying to help him, but I don't want to be like mistaken for R. Kelly, of a different kind, sort of type. I had asked a question of a pastor about that same kind of contemplated line of thought. I was thinking to help this other much younger brother out as a good Samaritan. He said, "No, I don't." He said, "Don't have that young blood chill with you in your place, for little or nothing, where you could possibly play the part. You could possibly contemplate playing the part of good Samaritan and tell them, well, you ain't got to pay me much. Just throw a few bone away. It's really be like trying to be good Samaritan. Because some people take it the wrong way, and you'll never know. Like the situation with school teachers, You know what I'm saying? You like say like you a male school teacher of an adult, of a grown man, and you could merely like hug a young female student of an underage minor by her waist. Just put your hand around her waist, and then she could flip the script and say you touched her ass or ass cheeks, Or you could be a woman teacher, and you could hold a young boy by his shoulder of an underage male minor and lean over to him and bump your head against his head and tell him it's going to be all right. And he could claim that you attempt to smooch him. So I said, no, I ain't gonna let this young boy chill with me, Cause no telling how things get out of hand, If at some given moment in time he really show how much he could possibly become or be brain dead or brainless, then attempt to say that I had attempted to do a foul or funky, dirty school teacher number with him. You never know. So anyway, though, Oh, you all still see me? Sorry about that. So that's what happens to me today. I'm sorry. I was looking for somebody. All right, press it. I did. Praise the Lord. Anyway, that's what happened to me today. You know, so I left this one soup kitchen to diffuse the situation altogether, but not until I informed staff persons, make sure that someone heard what it went down, just in case they may have been so busy preparing the meal or serving it that they may have let that slip through their fingers, that line of thought. I'm about to step out there, and I ain't much into boxing shape because I have forsaken my physical exercise lately, but still I'm saying from time to time I carry a sharp object or a knife of some kind, sort of type. One time I was carrying, as in my possession, a straight razor, or back in the day. But now, on this last note of interest, I like to conclude these matters by saying, as I would usually go about, you know, that composing a social media broadcast, a video, setting things up from the basic introduction to the footnotes, and then I speak upon a subject matter, topic discussion of giving an argument to be debated with the many different views and opinions thereof to be possibly affiliated, associated with, and representing thereof. And then last but not least, I will give a closing. Be I would have quote some such exactly or paraphrase by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now, but mind's intention and line thought, while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing what he himself had done and did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha. Suffering at the hands of some sort of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, be they militarist, political, religious, or otherwise. But then, nevertheless, he went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice of blood sacrifice, the Lamb of God to take away the sins of the world. At the suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, centurion, Caesars, religious Pharisees, Sadducees, but then nevertheless, he went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, only sacrifice for you as well as for me. So that if any of us, being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, faction of society, lifestyle preferences, being an old, young, like both two sexual gender, male and female, representing not only the human species, but then the global community within this post 911 era, our new millennium apocalyptic day and age, where the doomsday clock is now at a few minutes to midnight compared to on time forming period prior to it was a quarter midnight, but it's right biblically prophetic time. Or to profess some of such faith in them, and there will become and be blessed one regarding another. In one way, one. First and foremost, with his salvation, being a witch. Let me finish this up. Being a witch is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And then the second would be that of his deliverance. But first, you have got to get his salvation. Otherwise, you have nothing coming so far as blessing is concerned. And if you leave this world without his blood sacrifice, that insurance policy against the lake of fire, damn hell, then your final destination would be the lake of fire. In that same line of thought, sense of word, where you will burn forever and be tortured and terrorized by the devil and demon for all eternity with the rest of the unsaved, lost, damned human souls, unbelievers and unbelievers, compared to how we as believers will be in the company of God and his angels, as well as in the presence of like-minded believers. You all take care and be blessed. We are. Peace.